Hey guys, it is that time of the week again, and we have a pretty big weekend at the box office this time around, pretty much just because there are 5 new wide releases. Not because any of them are going to make a ton of money and wind up being a hit, but before we get to that, let's recap last weekend. Happy Death Day crushed the competition with $26 million for its opening weekend. Then at number 2, we had Blade Runner 2049 with $15.5 million. Number 3 went to The Foreigner with $13 million. Number 4 was It with another $6.1 million. And then closing out the top 5 was The Mountain Between Us with $5.8 million. Now on to this weekend, I've got Only the Brave sitting at number 5. So the most recent tracking report that I read said that the Snowman was actually outpacing Only the Brave. I'm just going to stay hopeful that people wind up heeding the warning and they go see Only the Brave instead of the Snowman, because you should not see the Snowman, and that winds up taking the number 5 spot. Let's say that happens. I'm going to use the finest hours to predict the Only the Brave opening numbers. So the finest hours came out last year. It opened with $10.3 million, but it opened at more theaters than Only the Brave is getting. So the finest hours opened at 3,143 theaters, and it had an average of $3,274 per theater. I'm going to round that number down and then use Only the Brave's 2,500 theater count, and I'm going to come out with a number that's close to, let's say, about $7.7 million. Now let's move on to my number 4 of the week. That's where I have Blade Runner 2049. So yeah, again, Blade Runner didn't open as big as many were hoping, and then again, it didn't have a minimal weekend 1 to 2 drop like many hoped as well. I still think that the good word of mouth is going to catch on and continue to catch on, and I also think that percent change is going to level out. So last weekend it dropped 52.7%. I'm going to bring that number down to 47% this weekend, and if that's how things play out, Blade Runner is taking another $8.5 million, and that brings me to my number 3 movie of the weekend, Happy Death Day. So this one's in pretty good shape. It surpassed expectations its opening weekend, and it's got Halloween coming up, so people should want to go see this movie, or at least I would think they would. Plus it's a lot of fun, which is nice. But Happy Death Day opened a little higher than another Blumhouse release, The Visit, so I'm thinking that they're going to see a similar percent change moving from weekend 1 to weekend 2. If that winds up being the case and Happy Death Day dips around 54%, it's going to be taking another $12 million to the bank. Now it's on to my number 2, and that's where I have Geostorm. So no one's really talking about Geostorm, not anybody I know, and not the studio either. But disaster movies tend to be moneymakers, and I'm not saying Geostorm is going to be a big moneymaker to justify that $120 million production budget, but people just seem to want to go see them. I know I want to go see them, and I'm kind of curious to see Geostorm no matter how good or maybe bad it is. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to jump into another Warner Brothers release with another disaster movie that came out in 2014. That movie is Into the Storm. It's another underperformer. It only opened with $17 million. I don't think Geostorm is going to match that, but if Into the Storm can take $17 million opening weekend, I'd be surprised if Geostorm took any less than $13 million, which could be enough to secure the number 2 spot here. I do think that there is a chance Happy Death Day and Geostorm might swap places, but right now I'm going to give Geostorm the benefit of the doubt and put it at number 2, and that brings me to my number 1 movie of this weekend, and that is Boo 2, a Madea Halloween. You just don't underestimate the power of a Tyler Perry movie. So the first Boo movie opened up with $28.5 million. I don't think this sequel is going to touch that number, but when you look at other Madea movies, Witness Protection and Big Happy Family in particular, those wound up with something like $25 million, so I think that Boo 2 might come in just behind those and post $22 million, which should easily win the weekend for the movie. So I'm giving Boo the number 1 spot with $22 million. Let's recap my predictions. I've got Boo 2, a Madea Halloween, coming out on top with $22 million. Then Geostorm with $13 million, followed by Happy Death Day dropping to number 3 with $12 million. Blade Runner 2049 coming at number 4 with $8.5 million. And then at number 5, I've got Only the Brave with $7.7 million. So those are my predictions, but now I need to hear yours because I think some of these things could move around a little bit. So I'm very curious to hear where you guys think they're going to land on the top 5 at the box office. Before I close out this video, I need to give good old Tony Morrow a Patreon shout out. Tony's been a longtime supporter, and now he's a Patreon supporter too. So Tony, thank you so much for the continued support. It means a lot to me. And thank you to everybody watching this video. Please like, share, comment, all that good stuff, and I will see you soon for more movie and TV coverage.